Be around people who actually like you. Be around family who cares about you. Music is extremely spiritual, and music triggers different emotions in us. Hi you guys, welcome back to Your Level Up Guru. If you are not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to talk about ascend spiritually, grow intuition, and conquer your human experience, okay? We are all having a human experience, by the way, in case you didn't know, and here we are. When I started going on my spiritual journey and I told myself that I wanted to ascend on a soul level. I wanted to ascend spiritually. I wanted my vibrations to be higher. I wanted my spirit to be more sensitive to hearing God, and I wanted my spirit to just be pure and clean and vibrant and just good vibes, you know. And one of the major things that helps me with that is keeping the right people around me. Be around people who actually like you. Be around family who cares about you. Be around friends who value and honor you, who will give you the shirt off their back if you need it. Love is important. Positive, healthy relationships are extremely important, and this is something that I think is so popular, especially in the African American community, is pushing people to tolerate toxicity, dysfunction, narcissism, and disrespect. It's not going to work. If you want to balance your spirit, make sure your energy is balanced, feel good, good vibes, good spirits, good energy. You need to be around people who value, honor, support you, and establish healthy bonds with you. That's why I tell you guys, I'm sorry, like, there are certain people that you have no business communicating with because they are toxic, okay? And if you want to grow spiritually and you want to ascend and you want to heighten your intuition, you want to heighten your discernment, they don't need to be around. Get away from them. They are going to affect you negatively. Think about how you feel when you're around somebody who loves you. When you're around good friends, good family, good colleagues, good people, the vibe is good. How do you feel? You feel healthy. You breathe better. Your anxiety, you don't feel it anymore. Your depression that you may struggle with, your sadness, whatever it is, when you're around good people, it's good for your health. It's healthy for your body. That's why a lot of women who are in toxic marriages, they develop all type of illnesses, because dealing with that toxicity and that dysfunction on a daily basis, it takes a toll on your health. So if you want to ascend spiritually, grow your intuition, and conquer your human experience, emphasis on conquering your human experiences, get and stay around those who genuinely love and care for you. This is good for your health. To create a regimen. Create a regimen, rituals, and acts that calm your mind, body, and spirit. So if you want to conquer your human experience and overall feel good and always be in good spirits, you need to create some type of regimen that makes you feel calm, at peace, and at ease. For me, that's meditation and journaling, okay? Like, I light candles, I put on jazz music, I put the AC on like 60 degrees, I take out my journal, I lay on my bed, I pour up a nice glass of freshly squeezed orange juice or apple juice, something organic, or I have some hot chamomile tea, and I just journal. You know, I write about my life, I write about my day, I write about my experiences, I write to God, I write my desires, I write how I'm feeling, I write what I want to happen, and I just stay in that vibe. I stay in that element, and after I do that regimen or that ritual, I feel really, really good. I feel really good, and I feel very balanced internally. And the more you engage in these regimens, and the more you develop some type of regimen or whatever it is that you need to develop, whatever spiritual thing you need to develop or engage in on a daily basis to make yourself feel good, you're gonna feel good, and your intuition and your discernment is going to be heightened. Okay, now when you do things to ascend spiritually, let's talk about spiritual ascension. When you ascend spiritually and you're growing spiritually and you're just raising your vibe and you're just clearing out all that dirty, disgusting, dark, you know, energy, and you're staying away from people who just are battling their own demons and they want to bring that battle into your life, and you start having your boundaries up and you're really balancing yourself and you're engaging in really nice, beautiful practices, you're going to attract a lot of unhealed, unhappy, unbalanced people. I will warn you about that, because the more you ascend spiritually, you're gonna be like a big beam ray of light. And what do moths and roaches and all type of weird animals do? They follow the light, right? That's what they do. So when you ascend, you're gonna attract a lot of all type of effed up people. I'm sorry, excuse my language. That's why your boundaries have to be high. A lot of people, when we talk about spirituality, nobody talks about the fact that you need to have high boundaries to keep those toxic energetic vampires out of your face. You know, to keep them out of your face, your boundaries have to be very high, because for example, when you walk into a room and you shine bright and you're noticed, and there's just something about your aura, there's something about your energy that is that attracts people to you, it's because you put in the work spiritually behind the scenes. You work on self. There's going to be some toxic lowlife who's going to come out the woodworks, who's going to come and try and provoke you, test you, who's going to try and come and get a reaction out of you. Those people are imbalanced, and they're sensing your balance, and they want to tip the balance beam. That's what those people do. So when you think about balance, we think about a Libra scale. A Libra scale is balance, right? A Libra scale is like this. A Libra scale is balance. So when you're ascending spiritually, you're growing spiritually, you are putting in the work, you're engaging in different spiritual practices to ensure that you're staying calm and peaceful and at ease, you're going to meet people who are going to see your balance is like this, and they're going to try to tip it and tip it and tip it, because they just don't want you to be balanced. So that is where boundaries comes into play when it comes to ascending spiritually, growing your intuition, and conquering your human experience, is because a lot of people, when they see that you're balanced, they want to tip that balance. Boundaries. I don't play with my boundaries. Everybody knows that about me. Do not bring your nonsense in here, because it's not going to be accepted, and I'm going to shut the door in your face. Both physically and spiritually. I'm not going to have you come in and interrupt my peace or pop my bubble. So that's why, just like when Beyonce said, I'm stingy with my love. Yes, I'm very freaking stingy with my love, my time, my attention, who I am. Because a lot of people, they're not healed, and they just want to come in and tip your balance, tip all the work that you've done. They just want to come in and just suck the energy out of you. So make sure that you get and stay around those who genuinely love and care for you, and that you create a regimen, rituals, and acts that calm your mind, body, and spirit. Sorry, that was a whole rant. That was a whole freaking side note. I'm sorry about that. But yes, like, have a regimen. The next thing is to, yeah, a lot of people are not going to like this, but I got to say it anyways. Change the way that you eat. If you're trying to ascend, if you're trying to grow spiritually, if you're trying to balance yourself, you cannot say that you're trying to grow spiritually and balance yourself and you're sitting there stuffing your face with a quarter pounder. Yeah, a quarter pounder. I don't even know if those still exist. I think quarter pounders, was that a Burger King? What's the McDonald's one called? You can't sit there and say that you're trying to ascend and you're sitting on your couch having, I forgot. I don't even know what it's called. The one that has a Thousand Island dressing on McDonald's. Why am okay, scratch that. If you are trying to balance yourself out, you need to pay attention to what you're eating. Stop with the junk food. That stuff is low vibrational. The factory that it's made in, the people who are preparing it, by the time it gets to you, you might as well have just went in the trash and ate out the trash, because that's what you just ate. Okay, when you're trying to balance yourself, ascend spiritually, enjoy your human experience, try to stay near leafy foods. That means like a lot of greens and a lot of fruits. I I love fruits, okay? Like a big old juicy bowl of fresh chopped watermelon. Ugh, yum. Or fresh squeezed pineapple juice or celery or whatever, or mangoes in your backyard or coconut water. I love those type of things, and those type of things really help balance you spiritually, because you're not eating processed foods. You're not eating foods that other people prepare. I don't know if it's a spiritual thing, but I feel so much better when I eat food that I made as opposed to when I purchase something that was made by somebody else, if that makes sense. Like, I like when I'm the one, it's my hands preparing my food. I don't really like, I mean, of course I eat at restaurants and things like that, not all the time, but I'm saying is like, there are some people where all they do is Uber Eats, and that's so not good for you mentally, physically, and spiritually. The next thing is to create a playlist of music that raises how you feel. Now, let me tell you about music. Music is very powerful. And remember, we're talking about ascension and conquering your human experience, right? We're talking about everything spiritual in this video. Music is extremely spiritual, and music triggers different emotions in us. And then you have to also pay attention to the artist who's making the music, because their energy is going into their music as well. So you got to be very, very careful, because music are mantras. So when you're trying to ascend and balance yourself spiritually and keep yourself grounded, pay attention to the music that you listen to and the emotion that is triggering in you when you're listening to it. Now, listen, I'm not going to sit here and try to act like somebody who's holy art thou, sweetie. I love my trap music. I had to stop. I had to leave that behind because I'm growing spiritually and I want to make sure that I'm keeping myself balanced. But when I go to the gym and I'm lifting weights and I'm working out, like, I can't really work out to like Alina Baraz. It's very difficult for me to do that. I need something that's going to push me. So that's where the Future or Money Man comes on, you know, and I'm trying to cut that out. But, you know, when you keep listening to music that talks about, you know, bending this person over, drugs, you know, smoking weed, guns, killing, you know, you keep listening to depressing music, okay? Like, I freaking love Lana Del Rey, but it's like her music can trigger, if you've ever suffered with depression, her music can trigger depression. It really can, because she's usually depressed when she's making those albums. So that energy is flowing into her music. And then when you listen to it, you kind of start to, you know, you start to feel a little bit blue. You start to feel a little bit down. And I love Lana Del Rey. Like, I'm not talking bad about her at all. I'm not saying she does it on purpose. No. But I'm just saying that when you're growing and you're ascending spiritually and you're trying to have the best human experience as you can, pay attention to what you're listening to and the emotions that is triggering. And I will be creating a playlist for you ladies and gentlemen about like just music that just makes me feel like I'm laying on a beach in Bora Bora and there are dolphins just jumping up, and I have a beautiful mimosa and I'm just enjoying life and I'm living and I'm happy and I feel good and I feel the sun on my body. Like, music that just makes you feel like that's what you're living, right? A music that releases positive hormones in you. I will create a playlist on my Spotify podcast that you guys can listen to, and maybe you guys may not like my style of music, that's fine, but those are just songs that really make me feel good. And when I really want to balance myself out spiritually, when I really want to ascend, there are certain songs that just make me feel so good, and I love playing them. And that's when I realized that music really is spiritual, which is why it's one of these points that I'm talking about. Like, music, like the artists that are in the studio creating these songs for you, their energy is going into their music. And if they're making their music while they're high, drunk, out of it, and discombobulated, that's how you're gonna feel every time you listen to their music. So you have to really think about that, okay? Sorry, I know I got super serious for a second, but I will share my playlist. Okay, the next thing is get out and get around nature. Plant your feet in the sand, get around water, hug an animal. I know that sounds like super, like, what the hell is she talking about? Like, there's just something about nature that makes your spirit feel so in tune. There's just something about being around trees, or planting your feet in the warm sand, or going in the ocean water and having that salt water go all over your body. There's something, it just does something to you. So I really encourage you guys, when you're trying to ascend spiritually, conquer human experience, heighten intuition and discernment. Intuition and discernment is not just a spiritual thing that you try to develop. It's not only spiritual. Intuition and discernment also has to do with what you're listening to, what you're eating, your practices on a daily basis. And I'm telling you, like, getting around nature changes everything. Like, get around nature. And the next thing is meditation. Meditation is key. Okay, like, do you even know how to meditate? Like, when I meditate, there was a time that I was meditating and I started getting so deep in my meditation that I scared myself. And that's why I opened my eyes, because I got scared. Like, meditation is so powerful. It's such a powerful spiritual practice. Like, there was a time I was meditating, and, like, no lie, you guys, like, I like jumped, because I was just, it was getting too deep. I was getting too deep into the meditation, and I feel like I started losing myself a little bit. Not losing myself in a bad way, but like my spirit, like I kind of felt like I started like slipping into something that I was too scared to slip into. So I stopped the meditation right then and there. So meditation is very powerful. Don't be afraid of it. It's a beautiful way to communicate with God. Sometimes I'll meditate and I'll have worship music playing, and I just sit there and I close my eyes and I control my thoughts, and I'm talking to God through my thoughts and through what I'm feeling, and that's how I'm connecting with Him. And then you just go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and then you'll start to feel like you're about to lose yourself. But don't stop when that happens. Keep going. That means you're about to jump dimensions when that happens. So don't stop when that happens. Like, let it happen, okay? You'll come back. You'll be okay. The next thing on, of course, developing yourself, enjoying your human experience, and ascending is develop an extensive reading list, routine, and book list. I always tell you guys to stop filling your mind with the junk that you see online. Stop filling your mind with the junk online. Like, I don't know, like social media, it's too much. Like, it's too much of other people's lives. It's too much of the news and the media and the toxicity that goes on in the world. Read books, okay? Don't scroll. The only time you should be on your phone or scrolling is when you're watching my stuff. I'm kidding. No, but seriously, guys, seriously, like, buy books. If you want to know some good books, just comment below or email me. I'll send you my reading list. But definitely start reading books. I recommend a book a month. If you're super busy, a book a month. If you're not super busy, a book a week. Yes, you can do a book a week, because I could finish a book in a day. So, okay. The next thing is, yeah, I talked about meditation and releasing yourself from all things negative. Is cut out all low quality friendships, relationships, all things that's negative. We don't want to deal with nothing negative, you guys. Like, if it's negative, we don't want to deal with it. If it's a negative person, we scratch it. Like, no, like, if it's negative, we're not dealing with it. You have to have a very low tolerance for negative people, negative environments, negative situations, because it will spill into your life, okay? The next thing is never ignore your inner voice. This goes to discernment and intuition. I promise you, every time you ignore your intuition, it's going to screw you up in the future. Like, you will end up regretting the fact that you didn't listen to your voice, to your inner voice. And when you ignore intuition and you ignore discernment, you are leaving yourself open to heartbreak and heartache and betrayal and possibly something far worse. When you ignore intuition, you ignore discernment. I've ignored my intuition. I've ignored my discernment before. Now that I've gotten older and God has taught me the consequences of doing that, if my spirit says no, it's no. I don't care what it is, where it is, or who it is. If my spirit says something's not right, I'm going to listen to it, and I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm going to just listen to it, because your spirit knows things before you do. Okay? The next thing is fall in love with guidance. Okay, fall in love with the guidance that comes from within. Okay, you are guided. You do have the answer. Why? Because God lives in you. So if God lives in you, how do you not know the answer? So you have to go within in order to find the answer. I think a lot of people keep going without, like they keep going outside when the answer is within. And that's really, you know what, I'm not going to even open those can of worms, but that's really why I have a problem with a lot of the doctrines that's being taught. Is we're taught to look for something outside of ourselves when we don't need to do that. God is within ourselves. Yes, so fall in love with yourself, okay? That's another major thing. Fall in love with yourself, your vibe, your aura, all the parts of you, even the dark parts. I think that in life, we all have our main selves, our happy, vibrant, amazing selves, and then we have our shadow. We have our shadow self, our shadow side, our dark side, and it's okay because we all have certain parts of ourselves that are not the greatest. Like, we're human, like we understand that, God understands that, like we are not perfect. We have certain parts to ourselves and certain things in our lives that's not the best, but I just want you to just fall in love with just your soul and who you are, and everything that you've been through is what makes you you. So when you're ascending spiritually and you want to reach ascension, you want to reach that balance, you want to enjoy your human experience, then you're going to have to accept yourself. Self-acceptance and not beating yourself up, and accepting yourself for who you are and understanding who you are. That just I don't know, like I feel like that's how you live freely. It's like you just want to live, and you live by understanding that you are not perfect, and you will have to accept certain parts of yourself that may not be the greatest, but it makes you you. And then last but not least is what ignites your spirit and what disturbs it. So when you are, you know, conquering life, enjoying your life experience, growing, expanding, ascending spiritually, what ignites you? You know, like what ignites that fire in you? Like what makes you feel really, really good? Like what makes you feel like you're like on a high? Like what makes you feel like life is exciting? Pay attention to that. Pay attention to what ignites you. And then also pay attention to what disturbs you. Like what disturbs your spirit? Who disturbs your spirit? And you want to make sure that you're avoiding the lather and paying attention to what ignites you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to watch or listen to my podcast on Spotify. It is up. I know that so many of you guys from YouTube, from TikTok, you guys have been telling me, you need a podcast, you need a podcast, you need a podcast. So I decided to create that podcast on Spotify, and I drop new episodes every other Friday. So do not forget to watch that. Do not forget to join or to visit my website to book your calls with me and stuff. Like, I'm just so excited. I have so many amazing things planned for you guys for this year. And this year is going to be a game changer, but in a good way. But anyways, I love you guys. Thank you for all your support. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and share my channel. And love y'all. Bye.